We talked about Solana, now we're going to talk about something else, something called Bitcoin. The next panel is called If Bitcoin is Gold, Inscriptions Are Jewelry. So please give it up for Thread Guy here who's moderating, Far, Amanda Terry,
thank you.
And Alex.
And no place to go. And no place to go. Darling, and no place to go.
Yo, 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 yo! NFT Paris, how are we doing? How are we feeling? How are we living? Can I get a little noise real quick? Hold on. I know it's the end of the day. I know you're tired. I'm tired. I see you in the audience, but that shit is weak. One more time, can I get a little noise really quick for my incredible panelists here today? Come on, thank you. Yeah. Look, we got an absolutely stacked panel here today. Actually, it's the only Ordinals panel. First and foremost, that is crazy. Next year, I'm going to make sure we change that. But shout out to these panelists for joining us. Shout out to NFT Paris for having us. And all you incredible people for pulling up, for listening. We're stacked today. We got Alexis, we got Amanda, we got Far. I think the best place to start, it's a little cliche, but it'd be great if we could go around the horn here, get a quick little intro. Who are you? What are you doing? And why are you on the Ordinals panel today? Alexis, we can start with you.
Okay, that's super high energy. Let's calm a little bit the vibe.
Someone's got it right.
So my name is Alexis André. I was born in Paris. I was living in Japan for 20 years, and I just came back. I'm a generative artist. That is, I use code to create art pieces. My main platform of choice has been art blocks. I have a piece that is shown on the corner over there, and I've in the panel, because if we're talking about generative art, the things about the Ordinal protocol, it's been created by Casey, that is a generative artist, and it's been thinking about the protocol for generative art first. So there is a lot of really nice features that are embedded in the protocol to help people like me create new art pieces on a different chain. So that's why I'm here, and I guess I'll let Amanda talk about herself. Thanks.
All right, hi, my name is Amanda Terry. I am co-founder and chief operating officer of MetaGood. MetaGood is the company behind NFT collection on-chain Monkey. We were the first 10,000 profile pick that launched in September 21. That was all done in a single Ethereum transaction, so very energy efficient. Those are SVG files. My co-founder Danny Yang, when the Ordinals protocol launched a little over a year ago, inscribed all of those 10,000 monkeys onto Bitcoin. So it was the first 10,000 collection inscribed on Bitcoin, inscription 2021-9. We've then migrated, I'd say upgraded our community from Ethereum, the 10,000 monkeys. I think over 78% of our collection has been upgraded to Bitcoin. And we are working with incredible artists like Alexi, who's going to be launching his first generative art collection on Bitcoin, and others. So yeah, here for the Ordinals, here for the Bitcoin. Let's go.
You know we saved the best for last. Far?
Hello, everyone. I'm Far. I'm an artist. I have been an artist for over 10 years. And you know, in 2022, I was with two guys that you might know, Udi and Eric Wall. We were thinking about what to do for Bitcoin. And you know, we started this project called Taproot Wizards. Back then, it was just like Wizards. And in 2023, when Casey came out with Ordinals, we're like, all right, this is the time to put them out. So we did the first 4 megabyte block with the Taproot Wizard 0. And since then, it's been like I see. It's been a ride. You know, we just launched the Quantum Cats that you might know. And yeah, happy to be here.
Quantum Cats, Taproot Wizards. I've never heard of it. We will get to talk about it a little bit here on this panel. I mean, Amanda, I want to start with you. And I think most people here are familiar with On-Chain Monkey, but they might not be familiar with the intricacies of what you all have done with this bridge and inscribing on Bitcoin. Do you want to talk a little bit about like sort of what as a whole you guys have done on Bitcoin, but focus a little bit on like what inspired that decision?
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know what ordinals are, it's basically NFTs that are inscribed on Satoshis. Satoshis are the lowest denominator of Bitcoin. So each Satoshi is 1/100 millionth of a Bitcoin. And they are numbered sequentially for when that Bitcoin was mined. I'm very fortunate to work with Danny Yang, who created the largest cryptocurrency exchange in Taiwan called MyCoin. It's been operating for over a decade. He also created a company called Blockseries in 2018 that government agencies use for blockchain analytics. And he founded the Stanford Bitcoin meetup in 2013. So he's really a very OG, over decade-long builder on Bitcoin. So when the Ordinals protocol came out, he recognized that there was a huge opportunity, right? You know, on-chain art, even when we did it 2 years ago for on-chain monkeys, on-chain really wasn't a thing. So we were, because we were able to do it in a single Ethereum transaction, it was considered a digital artifact. But you know, before the Ordinals protocol launched, most Ethereum NFTs are actually just digital certificates where you can trade them, but the actual asset is pointing off to an offline system like an IPFS file. So what's really exciting about Ordinals is they're actually inscribed on-chain, on Bitcoin, and you know, for our Genesis collection, when we teleburn, so you could teleburn your Genesis on Ethereum over to Bitcoin, you actually get 4 inscriptions, and they're on block 9, 450x sats, which are literally like the first 10 Bitcoin ever mined by Hal Finney and given to, mined by Satoshi and given to Hal Finney. So very, very rare. You know, if you think about like kind of Bitcoin as being digital real estate, kind of the Park Avenue, Beverly Hills, Paris of the ordinal space. So I think for us, we just realized, you know, Bitcoin is obviously the largest L1, most secure, most decentralized L1. And if you are creating high-value digital art and assets, you want it to be on the most secure L1 for longevity. And so that's why we're so excited to both bring our community, our collection onto Bitcoin, and then work with incredible artists like Alexi to help them use Bitcoin as a new medium to put their art.
Yeah, I think it makes some great points. The most decentralized, most secure. I mean, I want to start with you, Alexis, and we can go over to Far. I know you've done some really cool art on other chains, cool collections, cool projects, but what has sort of like inspired you to make the move to start creating on Bitcoin? You're very humble, but there is a project upcoming. I know you didn't want to mention it, so I will mention it if you want to talk a little bit about that.
So the project started like a year or more, even more ago, and we were first thinking about doing it on ETH because that was the only platform available. And then suddenly the Ordinals protocols came in, and I was like, yeah, okay, it's interesting. And as Amanda just said, okay, that's the purest on-chain art you can do right now. Because, of course, you could do kind of the same thing with a smart contract on ETH. But then here, the protocol has been made just for this specific purpose. So there is no way you can use external assets. So for the type of art that I do, most artists might use an external library. They might use some external assets. And here, no, you cannot do that. On-Chain Monkey and the team just put all the libraries that are needed to do the art that I do on-chain. So purest on-chain form of generative art is, for me, kind of available with the Ordinals protocol. So if you care about these type of things, maybe you should look at what Ordinals offer as a technology to create those generative art pieces that we kind of are the jewelry of the NFT art scene, right? So that's why I was interested to collaborate with them from the technical side of things. And I also have to acknowledge the social good, the social impact that the On-Chain Monkey community has been pushing for, and that's also why I'm collaborating with them. Because from an art perspective, you know, when you're doing like monkey-related collection, sometimes it's not the best of arguments. Like people have like a lot of cliche about what it means to do a monkey collection, but here, no, that's not the case. There is more. There is like the social values behind the project that convince me. Okay, this is a nice partner. They do amazing thing. They provide the technology. They provide the marketplace. They do all the teaching, the coaching, so that users have the best experience just to interact with the art, see the art, collect the art, and just be able to use this chain the longest chain as a new medium for artists like me or newcomers to just, okay, here is the perfect place for pure on-chain generative art. It's an option. You can do the same thing on different chains, but it's an option. You should be looking at it because we know the space loves innovation. The innovation happens right now. So if you want to join the party, you should talk to Amanda and On-Chain Monkey.
Incredible. And Amanda, I want to go back to you, and we'll go to Far here. You know, Alexis touched a little bit about the emphasis On-Chain Monkey has put on education, working towards onboarding people to Bitcoin. Can you talk a little bit about that focus, why, and sort of how you've approached onboarding people to Bitcoin ordinals, which is not only new, but fairly high level for some people, can be a little intimidating when you get a first look at it?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely getting people to download a new wallet. So Xverse is a thing in itself. We've done a lot of Twitter Spaces. We bring lots of other creators onto our spaces as well to help educate. We do a lot of internal Discord chats. You know, we do a lot of education just of our community. And, you know, we've written articles, you know, op-eds for Bitcoin Magazine. There's a great one called The Rise of Ordinals. If you go to Bitcoin Magazine, Danny Yang, my co-founder, Y-A-N-G. It's probably one of the best yet written things that I've seen about, like, the significance and the history of ordinals, and then kind of at the bottom it talks about like what we've done as a collection. So definitely read that. But yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's all community building, and we're very fortunate to have a really strong community. As Alexi mentioned, you know, we've also we've always wanted to make Web3 making good in the world. And you know, even when we launched On-Chain Monkey 2 years ago, we used our primary and secondary trading revenues to do things like fund the evacuation of Afghan girl, Sharbat Gula, the piercing green eyes and the Nat Geo cover, and her family to get out of Afghanistan to Italy because we knew, you know, she told us the Taliban were entering and she needed to get out of the country. We've done coral reef restoration. We did a mosaic of our 10,000 monkeys in the shape of a world with a heart over Ukraine. We sold those, and we had our community through our DAO vote for which nonprofit, and they voted to give it to Save the Children for humanitarian aid in Ukraine. So we're very fortunate. We were named Fast Company's 20 best world-changing ideas in impact investing. So while, you know, we've done all of this technical innovation, we've created libraries that other creators are using. Like I just saw Hardo earlier today. He did his Floriforms collection using our libraries for recursion. But we've also done impact in the world because we truly believe that Web3 can do good in the world.
Yeah, I love that. And Far, I want to go to you. Artists of Taproot Wizards and the Quantum Cats, which are out and live, and arguably one of the most hyped, exciting collections that's not just on ordinals, but at the space at large. I mean, I want to ask you from your perspective, like, what is sort of the current state of art on Bitcoin, ordinals art as you see it? And I guess secondly, like, what sort of inspired you to come over to ordinals and start creating?
So you mean the current state of ordinals within the overall space? Or
yeah, and just like what art on Bitcoin, art on ordinals, like what is sort of the current state and where we're at with things?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak about what I know in ordinals. You know, in 2023, we were kind of like doing these things like we're like the weird guys working with this thing with ordinals, right? Everyone was kind of like the way that people say fading it, right? And you know, I thought it was like a very fascinating time because ordinals came out as you can say it's a hack, and it's very much community driven, and you know, we'll have like endless hours on spaces trying to figure out things for the protocol, but also, you know, like we're getting a lot of backlash from Bitcoin maxis and all these people saying, what the hell are you doing? So this was like during last year, and then this year, because we have been like a very strong like OCM, like many people have been working non-stop over there, and now we're getting like this, people are kind of like, wow, this is actually kind of cool. And so it's a still very small space, ordinals, but the potential is very, you know, obviously I'm biased because I'm breathing ordinals for like for I don't know how long, but I think it's a very interesting addition to the whole space, NFT space. And then you have Ethereum, Solana, Tezos, and and now you have ordinals. So every different chain has like a pros and cons, and ordinals like what we were discussing, the ability of putting things on chain. For an artist, is very important because your work is there. You don't need to be managing. From the collector, it's also important because they get you get what you pay for in a way, right? And it has like this how do I call it? But this kind of like a original pedigree of crypto, which is being like a community oriented, like a for real, right? And then things that we're doing with Tapper Wizard and Quantum Cats, for instance, like we're trying to push OPCat, and we're using PFPs and community to do it, right? It's kind of like a guerrilla or propaganda, but because things in Bitcoin, it takes time because it has to be consensus. So I don't know. I think it's very. I mean, we're thriving definitely, right? Like I don't know how it's seen from the outside, but as I have been speaking with these days, I have been meeting with a lot of Ethereum collectors. Many came, they collected the Quantum Cats, and they are discovering. So I think it's a very interesting moment right now.
It absolutely is. And I want to go back to you, Farah. I'll throw the same question to Alexi. As an artist, do you feel like an extra sort of layer of security knowing that your artwork is inscribed on Bitcoin sort of forever and can never be messed with, never can be touched?
Yeah, it's kind of like a mindfuck actually to prepare for that because it's like what it goes there, it's just forever. So by now I've done like several collections. So, but I still before I hit the button to actually inscribe, it's like double checking everything 1,000 times, but also like the mentally, like you're saying, okay, I might die tomorrow or in 2 days or in 20 years. This thing's gonna be like this forever as long as Bitcoin is functioning. It's pretty interesting. We never had a medium like that before, right? Because even if you make a sculpture with material, it's gonna age in somehow, and data here is gonna stay as it is. So it's very interesting.
I like the analogy for anyone who doesn't know ordinals. We like to always say it's like the Lascaux cave paintings, right? Which are going to outlast everyone, or should outlast everyone. Have outlast certainly the creators.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to kind of throw you the same question. Another very talented artist here. Do you feel this like extra layer of security knowing that your artwork is in fact inscribed on Bitcoin, like these ancient cave artworks?
Yeah, it's the big question. Like, if you've looked at the digital art scene, not the NFT art scene, but what they were doing up until the last few years, there was a nightmare of archival. How do you take care of a computer piece that runs on a iMac first generation? There's no way you can get the hardware. There's no way the software compiles again. So there's like really technical stuff that is now, we do not care because we have the source, the original is there for everyone to see, to enjoy. And I'm sure people will find there's enough value in preserving a way to interact with this medium because it will contain the sum of the art scene of this specific era. It's going to be a passion project, I guess, for people to just dive into this history of the art of the time. And it's going to be amazing to see how people are going to reuse those assets, because that's also what is possible with this ordinal protocol. You can tie into existing sats, you can tie into existing inscriptions. So it's kind of interesting to see what's going to come thanks to the availability of the data on-chain. That's kind of what excites me, because now we have access to this medium that is been created for this purpose, and how we're going to use it is, of course, the job of the artist. We have to push the message behind all the piece that we're making. It's not content, right? We need to have something to say, and we're going to use the technology to say it in the best way possible. So
Yeah, I love
excited.
it. I love it. And Amanda, I'll go to you. I think it's fair to say what On-Chain Monkeys have done on Ordinals is innovative and kind of the first of its kind in its own right. Do you think we'll see more collections in the future take a similar approach? And I guess secondly, do you think it's like beneficial to the space that more and more collections that are maybe on ETH or maybe on Solana or alternative chains sort of focus on Ordinals and potentially make this move and bridge over prior collections to Ordinals?
Yeah, I hope. I mean, we definitely want to encourage more creators, more brands. So outside of obviously being the first 10,000 to inscribe, first 10,000 to bridge from ETH to Bitcoin, when we launched it's called OCM Dimensions, On-Chain Monkey Dimensions. Last June, it was the first collection to use parent-child provenance and also to use recursion. And as Alexi mentioned, Danny inscribed these code libraries that now other creators are also using to create collections. We were able to onboard 2 iconic luxury brands, Asprey, the jeweler, and Bugatti, the car company, and they created an Asprey Bugatti egg collection. So 111 physical eggs. We created the generative art, kind of the digital twin on Bitcoin that people were able to trade and then redeem for the egg, leveraging that OCM dimension code. Hardo's using that code. So that it's, yes, I think that there's a lot. And the Ordinals protocol is not even version 1.0. So I think there's going to be a lot more that will even be developed as a very rich medium. But yeah, I mean, now everyone kind of uses parent-child, everyone uses recursion, but back when we did in June, it was very unique. And even the way we did our mint, it was non-custodial, it was provably fair, there was no front running. Those things are not yet commonplace among even a lot of Bitcoin mints. So it's very early, the ecosystem, the marketplaces, the wallets, and so I'm excited. I mean, it's only been a year of the protocol. Where are we going to be at in a year, in terms of the development of the ecosystem? And what's so exciting is when we go to these conferences, it's the best vibes. Builders are coming back to Bitcoin. As Taproot Wizard said, they're making Bitcoin fun again. I mean, it is, for so long, a year ago, I was at Consensus, and the topic was can Bitcoin be anything but a store of value, right? And we had some Bitcoin maxis, and whatever, arguing about this. Now, right now at ETH Denver, we are sponsoring an event that we opened it up. It's a 500-person space. We had 400 RSVPs within a week at ETH Denver, right? And they're actually doing their own whole Ordinals conference at ETH Denver. So it's so exciting how parabolic the adoption and the passion and the people that are coming to Bitcoin are because of the Ordinals protocol.
Yeah, and I like how you touched on how early we are in sort of the timeline of Bitcoin, Ordinals specifically. Far, I want to ask you from an artist perspective, do you sort of see this opportunity to break through as a new artist on Bitcoin, on Ordinals specifically, that's maybe much more difficult to do on a chain like Ethereum or Solana that's been out longer, that just has more volume, more artists, more clutter, maybe for a lack of a better term?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think you're right in the sense that in Ethereum, it has a very evolved culture and a community, an ecosystem of collectors, artists, and it's kind of harder for a new artist to come in. That's a fact. And then you have other chains, but in Bitcoin, on Ordinals, because it's very new, there's an opportunity for creators, and actually, it's a reality because some, I think some collectors say well, we need more art, one of these things, right? So I invite every artist to start to consider it. I think, all the information is available. Everyone in the space is very willing to help each other. We are in this stage that there is no tribalism in it. And it's very different to do Ordinals than doing something on Ethereum per se, because you need to optimize the files to put it in 400 kilobytes or using recursion. So it's a process, but yeah, definitely I will invite every single artist to start and fuck around, find out. But it's a good time. It's actually a good time.
Fuck around and find out. I absolutely love it. And Alexia, I'll throw it to you next. You have some really cool upcoming stuff on Ordinals specifically, and I would imagine a lot of other artists in the space that look up to you, artists, friends, whomever it is, are sort of taking an interest and are curious about what you're doing as well. I guess my question is, how is the process sort of onboarding an artist to Bitcoin, to Ordinals that maybe hasn't dabbled in that space at all? Is there a layer of friction there, or is it a seamless process?
Not at all. As if you're familiar with doing generative art using code, we do not share this problem of using too much data because the size of my art pieces are, I think the biggest I did was like 20 kilobytes. So 20 kilobytes is like tiny even for ordinal size. So there is no friction there. It's just, can you do it purely without any libraries, or you use the libraries that OnChain Monkey has put on chain. So the friction is, are you willing to try this different chain? Because it might be not the same interface, it might not be the same experience. But from a pure like friction perspective, there is no friction. That's why it's kind of interesting. If you're interested in the concept of making a pure on-chain generative art piece, you should look into ordinals, because it should be obvious that it's one of the possible choices that make a lot of sense for this specific type of art. If you want to put images on the chain, it's harder, and as far as saying you might want to use recursion if it's too big and whatnot, you have a different friction point. It's permanent, it's on chain, you have to be really sure when I push my code on chain, it's also, this is it, that's the final moment. Is the code right? I don't know, I hope it is. But compared to ETH, I guess it's the same. There's no difference. So if you're interested, you should try, because it's not going to be that different.
We love a frictionless process. And Amanda, I know from my experience, it's hard to get anyone to do anything in the space at large. Forget ordinals, but Web3. It's hard to get anyone to do anything. How the hell were you able to get so many people to really bridge over and get their on-chain monkeys from Ethereum over to ordinals? Like, what is the secret sauce? Because I'm very curious.
I wish there was a sequel. It's a lot of communications with our community. We've done 5 portals. We're about to do our 6th on the 26th. So you can still buy on OpenSea a Genesis on ETH and port it over if you want that experience, or you can just go to Magic Eden and pick one up, obviously on Bitcoin. But I'd say another very interesting trend that's happening in ordinals it's called like airdrop season, right? And these are actually fungible tokens that are being airdropped to people with wallets with Bitcoin assets. And so there's a group called the Karma Coin, which is actually a community group. It's not coming directly from OnChain Monkey, but they are dropping a token to everyone who has OnChain Monkey assets in their wallet, along with like 9 other communities. So, it's a community-driven thing. But I think when people started hearing about that, they're like, wait, I'm going to get airdropped fungible tokens that are worth like a decent market cap into my wallet if I'm on Bitcoin. So that has definitely been another motivating factor outside of just a lot of education with our community and belief in what Danny's done, and belief that he's like had foresight over the last decade to call the right shots on Bitcoin. And when he saw ordinals and he saw that and being early, it'd be very hard to inscribe a 10,000 collection today. It's just expensive, right? So he did it, right when it started. So it's a lot of belief and faith from our community as well.
Far, I want to ask you, where is art on Bitcoin going? If Taproot Wizards ever does actually mint, it's one of the most sought after collections, and I know you have a lot of eyeballs on yourself and a lot of other artists that are looking to you and what you're doing. Like, do you think sort of moving forward here, we're going to see a rise of artists coming over, of sort of proliferation of art on ordinals, and what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's also a good question because, Taproot Wizard is a PFP. PFPs by nature have like a way more network effects. People love PFPs. That's, I love making them because it's very interesting. They are large. Even though Taproot Wizard is only a little bit more than 2,000 and the Quantum Cats 3,000. But yeah, I think now is a moment where art needs to start to have a more presence. I don't think they have enough yet. And I inscribed the other day, I launched my collection Flares, and it's still very early for art to find its gap. There is not like many launch pads or places for artists to launch their projects. We have Gamma and a few other platforms, but still it's difficult. A lot of artists ask me where do I go? So I think it's a good opportunity right now for that, to start this art ecosystem. It's the very beginning right now.
Look, Far, the cats are cool. I love the cats. The question everybody is wondering is when mint on the Taproot Wizards?
I'm not gonna say that.
Coming soon. Look, that's our time. They're gonna rip me off stage. Can you clap it up one more time for these incredible panelists? Thank you to Alexi, Amanda, and Far. Give them some love. Thank you all so much. I'm gonna get ripped off this stage. I appreciate y'all. That is our time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.